69 years ago today, at 8:15 in the morning, the U.S. dropped the world's first atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. Destruction from the bomb was massive. Shock waves, radiation, and heat rays took the lives of some 140,000 people, nearly half of the town's population. 3 days later, the U.S. dropped a second atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Nagasaki, killing another 74,000.
Earlier this year, Democracy Now! Traveled to Hiroshima. We visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. And among others, I interviewed a survivor of the blast named Koji Hosokawa. We spoke next to the A-bomb dome, one of the few structures in Hiroshima that survived the blast. I began by asking him where he was at the time the atomic bomb fell.
I was at 1.3 kilometers away to the northeast from this area. I was exposed to the bomb there. And there was a building which was a very stout building. And so miraculously I survived.
How old were you?
何歳でしたか? 17 years old.
What were you doing in that building?
建物の中で何をされてましたか? I have to explain about it. And around the end of World War II, men throughout Japan were drafted and sent to battlefields. Adult men. So there was a labor shortage. So in order to have some people working in various places, 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds or older than these students were mobilized and worked at various places, so they could not work. I mean, they could not study, and so I was one of the mobilized students. And I was working at that building that was a communication bureau, and today it is now NTT, a telephone company. And people thought the imminent landing of the U.S. forces, or Allied forces, and I was there in order to have some communication lines established. And so I miraculously survived. But my sister, younger sister, she was also mobilized to work at some place. And she was at 700 to 800 meters away from the hypocenter, very close to the hypocenter, and she was exposed to the bomb there. And she was with teacher and the students, the other students. And in all, 228 people were there together with her, and all of them were exposed to the bomb. And my biggest sorrow in my life is that my younger sister died in the atomic bomb.
On that day, on August 6th?
Yes, she died on that day. But many cases, the relatives or family members could not find their children's bodies even. But in my sister's case, fortunately, she was carried to a relief station outside Hiroshima City, and she could receive some care, and she died there. Many people were missing. But I thought it was very fortunate that we could have her body. So at that time, that was a fortunate case.
How old was she?
彼女は何歳でしたか? 13 years old. She became 13 very recently at that time.
She died of radiation sickness after, or the actual effects of the blast on August 6th?
8月6日の放射能のために亡くなったんですか、それともやはり熱線などの原爆によって亡くなったんですか？
これは原爆ということは、我々は
In those days, we didn't know it was an atomic bomb. Nobody knew it was an atomic bomb.
だから私はそんな至近距離で被爆しながらもしばらくその近くに留まってたんです。
I was around this area because I didn't know about the bomb, so I was very close to the hypocenter, but I stayed around that area.
当時の日本人は原
The
爆なんかのことは
Japanese
全く
people in
知り
those
ませんでした
days
し、
knew nothing about atomic bomb.
知っておれば
If I
私
had
も
known that,
すぐに
I
爆心
would
地から
have
遠い方に
fled
逃げたに違いありませんけども
from the city to as far as possible.
Where were your parents?
両親はどちらにいらっしゃいましたか、細川さんの。
その時は郊外におりまして、
They were outside Hiroshima
それは
suburbs.
宮島におりました。
宮島 Do you know? 島ですね。宮島 Island.
だから家の方は大丈夫だったんです。
So the house was okay.
How did they find you?
どうやって細川さんを両親は見つけられましたか？
いや、私は歩いて、そ
I
の後の日
walked.
歩い
The
て帰りま
next
した。
day, I walked all the way home.
何もなくなって
There was nothing
なくなっている焦土と化した広島の
I walked
廃墟の
through the
中
burnt
を歩いて帰りました。
out city. Walked through the city.
What did your parents say when they saw you?
両親が細川さんが帰ってこられたのを見てどのようにおっしゃいましたか？
それは両親というては母親は収容所に迎えに行っておりまして留守でしたからね。しばらくするうちに妹は棺に入って帰ってきまし
My
た。
mother was away to the relief station, and so soon after that, my sister came home in a coffin.
全身やけどでした。
She was burnt all over her body.
わずかな救いは顔は綺麗だったです。
But fortunately, her
顔以
face
外のところは
was
ほとんど何も着てない状態
okay.
です。
Okay, she was almost naked. Aside from her face, she was almost naked, and almost all her body was burnt.
今のは広島では誰もが体験したごく普通の出来事に過ぎないんです。
This is only one of the cases, just one case of many people experienced a similar situation.
This is almost 69 years later.
69年経ちました。
It was the United States that dropped the atomic bomb. How do you feel when Americans come here
ア
to
メリカ人が
Hiroshima?
広島に来るときにはどのような気持ちがされますか？
これはアメリカ人より私はやっぱり戦争を憎みます。
I hate war rather than the people of the United States. I hate war.
戦争は
War
人々を皆クレイジーにします。
makes everyone crazy.
何も関係のない人も殺してしまうわけです。
So in the war, innocent people are killed.
その究極が僕は原爆だろうと思うんです。
And the ultimate case, I believe, is a bombing.
Mr. Hosokawa, as a hibakusha, as an A-bomb survivor,
被爆者です。
do you feel the United States should apologize for dropping the atomic bomb on your city?
広島に原爆投下したことに対して。
やはり原爆は
The A
広島
bomb
と長崎に落とされ
was
ましたけ
dropped
ど
in
も、
Hiroshima and also one in Nagasaki.
私は広島と長崎ではなく
And
人類全体に落としたものだと
I think that
私は思いま
atomic
す。
bombs were dropped not just on our cities, but on the whole human beings.
だから私は私の被爆体験を話すことはいろいろありますけども、
I have many things to talk about my experience of the A bomb.
だから次の3発目が落とされた時には
But if
もう
the next one,
地
the
球はなくなる
third
と
A
いう
bomb, is
話を
to be dropped, then the Earth will be annihilated.
例を挙げながら分かっていただきたい。
I want people to understand this is going to be, the Earth is going to be annihilated. So whenever I talk, I want them to understand this.
この平和公園は
The Peace
原
Memorial
爆が
Park,
投下されるまでは人々
until
の
the
暮らしがあ
A
ったんです。
bomb, people lived here.
全部廃墟になりました。
Everything was
そこに住んでた
destroyed.
人は全部が亡くなりました。で、
Everyone died around this area.
この平和公園は今こんなに綺麗な
The
木がた
Peace
くさん生
Memorial
えております
Park
け
is
ど
a
も、
beautiful park today with so many trees.
これは後から小さな苗木を植えたのが何十年も経ってこんなに大きくな
Later
ったん
they
ですね。
planted small trees, and after decades these trees became bigger, and now a very beautiful park today.
そんな例を挙げながら私は話しております。
I tell the visitors about this too.
人々の暮らしがあったというこ
I want them to understand people lived here.
と、これはぜひお伝えください。
Please tell the people that people used to live here.
戦争はまさにクレイジーに進んで
War makes everyone crazy.
Hiroshima survivor Koji Hosokawa. He was speaking at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. His 13-year-old sister's diary has been published as a book. It's called Yoko's Diary, The Life of a Young Girl in Hiroshima During World War II. Special thanks to Naoko Koizumi for translating our interview, and Makiko Nakano of Democracy Now! Japan, as well as John Hamilton and Dennis Moynihan. If you'd like to see our 3 days of coverage from Japan, go to democracynow.org.